I'm Eva Oh, and this is the Teakink podcast. I've been a Dominatrix since 2011, and I would like to spill the tea on my life. Thank you for listening. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Welcome to an episode of Teakink with the wonderful
Miss May.
And we are in...
We are at E1 Darkroom.
Which is...
my fully equipped East London Playspace.
Yes, it is, with all the body bags.
Oh yeah, my favorite thing.
All the different textures.
Yeah.
And a couple of cages and many, many other good devices. How long have you had it?
I opened the space in March 2023, so just over a year. But only now the place have shaped into the thing and the space that I want it to be due to limited budget and time and vision. I wouldn't say limited vision, but I don't know. I feel like getting the right furniture and the money, everything, like furniture is so expensive. So I had to build up and see what I want, what I need.
When you first started it, was it for you or was it for everyone? Or
I opened the space always with the intention of having the space for others, because when I opened it, that was just post-COVID, well, not post-COVID, but like 1 year post-COVID, and there was a lack of spaces. So I often found myself having to use spaces which are out of my reach, or clients would not be willing to travel as far as me. So I wanted to open a space, but I never knew it was going to be so central.
Okay. And when you thought of a space, what did you have in mind? Did it have a cage? Did it have restraints? Did it have hoods?
So my idea of a dungeon is dark, dingy, dangerous. You're intimidated by a space. You're scared, but yet curious. It turns you on in a way. Okay. And I wanted to create a sexy, filthy, dangerous play space. I started working in Germany, where I got really inspired by the space in Germany. I mean, they have one of the best in the world. I mean, the equipment and the things. And often in London, I was lacking the equipment. Like, I really wanted to have a lot of cages, bondage equipment, hoods, different ones. So when I opened my place, I wanted it to include all of the things that I need for a good session.
That you were missing.
Yeah.
And how did you discover that you liked those particular things? The filth, the darkness, the intimidation?
So I've always been interested in a darker aesthetic, like music. I'm into goth and punk and that kind of subculture, and the darkness of a dungeon. It always came in, kind of hand in hand. But I didn't start with the heavier stuff. I started with mostly foot worship and piss and other things that weren't as intense. Only after a while it kind of developed and
It's okay.
Okay. And after a while, I kind of developed a taste for heavy bondage, leather, latex, and other heavier stuff.
And what is this draw towards the heavy? What does it give you?
Bondage and leather, I think I like to... I don't know exactly, but I like to experience the inhumane things in a session. And I feel like if you're restricted, you have no will. So you are left to to do what I tell you. So it's just being bound even more and having no power over what's going to happen to you.
Just more and more restriction.
Yes, it turns me on so much restriction and bondage.
And it's a little bit disorientating getting into here also. So that's probably helpful too.
Yes.
Which way do I turn if I want to leave?
Oh, yeah. Every time when people exit the studio, it's always like, which way should I go? And because they're still like high up the session. I'm like, turn left.
And so now what has the space become? So people are using it?
Yes, there is. I'm very proud of the success of the space, that I was able to provide a space for my colleagues, my friends, other play partners, like people in the kink scene, and a lot of people use it for photo shoot sessions. I mean, everything filming days. I'm really happy that it has shaped into the space, because when I opened it, I never expected it to be so successful, but I just put a lot of effort in it, so it feels intimate and cozy. And
people have picked up on it.
Yeah, and I feel like people like the aesthetic of it as well. And I feel like the more people use it, the more people know about it, and they're like, oh, that space is nice, and I feel comfortable here.
Yeah, and I feel like you have things that you can really utilize and use. It's a very functional space also.
Yes, that was something that I really missed out of a lot of spaces in London, because they had a lot of things, but not the right ones, or they never had the items that I needed, like multiple bondage bags. Because like I'm really into bondage, and like in Germany we would have like 10 different bondage bags and straight jackets, and here you would have one that wasn't even leather. And I feel like if you're a fetishist and you're either into leather or latex, it can't be PVC or anything else. You need a leather or latex bondage bag, because it's not only about the item, it's about the material and the feeling of it.
Yeah, and I guess it's it can be time consuming to maintain it, which is probably why people don't necessarily rent it out as
Yes, maybe, yeah, that is true. I mean, a lot of the equipment needs to be properly sanitized and disinfected and cleaned, but I do it, and I don't mind cleaning thoroughly any of my spaces. So
how much time do you spend cleaning relative to how much time the space is used? Is it equal measure?
I clean more than I clean more than I even visit the space. So there's a deep clean once a week. If I have time, if I don't have time, I always hire someone. I have a few people working for me, but I also have cleaning subs who come and help me. But no one will do the work you want to see as well as you do. So you will have to do work yourself. So I just
put the gloves on.
and just do it myself. But that's what I like about my space, that it's always clean and ready for people, rather than, you know, like there was stuff missing or things were dirty when I worked. So I'm really happy to be in a space where people know where things are, and I know if something's dirty, I know who it was, so they get banned.
How many people are on the banned list?
I wouldn't say there's an official ban list, but I would say one person has done something wrong, and I never want to see her again in this space.
And how do you find cleaning subs or staff for a dungeon?
Cleaning staff, it's usually my friends who need some extra cash. So it's not that hard, who love cleaning and are good at it. Or I have service subs who are specialized in cleaning. So I have one who is a filming sub, and he also helps me now with cleaning. He also comes for parties and serves drinks. So he likes that. Or I have people who I utilize from sessions that I'm like, hey, if they're local and they're willing, I utilize them. Looking for service sub per se is impossible, because they always want something and it's never from a genuine place. Okay. It's really hard, service subs.
What do you mean by that?
What
is a service sub?
Service sub is someone who comes and serves you. For example, does your shopping, brings you coffee, cleans, runs errands for you. I have found that people who say they're service sub, they necessarily don't do sessions, and they kind of think they will get a session out of you by serving you. But I think that people should serve you without having a back thought of, I want to serve this person, so I will get a freebie or something. So
in an ideal situation, what they're doing is the thing that gives them something. Therefore, service sub.
Exactly. So service sub per se was really hard to find. So I just utilized people I work with before who I know are reliable and willing. Okay.
And have they panned out for you?
Yeah, great. I mean, one of them has been serving me for a year now. Not every week, not every day, but we have our times where he comes and helps with filming. He comes and helps and cleans. Last week he was serving champagne on my birthday. So, you know, just little things.
Very sweet. Do you often form these, I don't know if I would call it relationships, but extracurricular contact with the people you work with?
I would say it all depends on the dynamic, because I have people who come for a session with me and then they leave. But I also have people who come to see me for a session and we chat after, and there's always a friendship developing. So I have a few subs that I developed a personal relationship out of the session dynamic, but it's a big privilege for them, and not everyone is suitable for it. So like, it needs to be someone special who really catches my attention, who's really willing and who's available, because if you're not available for me, then I'm not bothered, and just see me for a session. That's it.
And have you moved through many of these arrangements? Like, I guess when I think about them over the years, some of them have been sweet, some of them stay, some of them have been a nightmare.
I need to be honest, there isn't that many, because I'm very picky who I let into my personal space, because as soon as they meet me outside my dom persona, I friend zone them, and it's not always... They want to hang out with me. They will get everything. They will not get a dom persona. Yeah. Sometimes it's not sexy. You just help me, and I'm not even looking sexy. You just do this thing for me, and that's it. But yeah, no, it's, some people stay, some people leave. I mean, it's like with any relationship. Relationships develop and merge into different kind of things. So it all depends on the person. But there's a few people who stayed, and a few people who realized. Sometimes people get into this dynamic. They think they can get something out of it, and they realize, actually, it's not how I thought it would be, and then they leave.
Yeah, I think that often you encounter the phrase, it's not exactly like the fantasy.
It is, yeah. It's not often like the fantasy, yeah.
Which makes me, because I came to kink as a worker first.
Yeah.
And so I experienced, I think, the reality of it pretty quickly, as opposed to living in isolation with a kink or something like this. And so I sometimes wonder what that feels like, to have no context to how something's going to fit into your life. You know?
Yeah, I mean, when I started, I had some people who wanted to serve me personally, but I had no need for them. Now I have different needs because of the studio, because of other things. I am very honest about what I need, but people are not always available. Some people will work around your schedule, I have a feeling.
We'll make an effort. Yeah. And also I think, just to think about the fantasy versus reality thing, I think people are not necessarily honest with themselves sometimes.
Yeah.
In terms of what they can be interested in committing to.
Yeah.
But your space, so the space has kind of been this way for you to utilize these people.
Yes, it's been very fun to have sometimes private play dates in a dungeon. I now am also seeing people privately, and I like to say I own a dungeon. So I kind of like the feeling that come into my lair. I have to get to do that. I think like getting someone straight away into a dungeon will be quite intimidating. So I'll do a drink first, and then.
No, it depends, I guess, how you set it up.
Come to dungeon, undress, do this.
Yeah, I mean, why not,
it's
right?
Hot.
Yeah,
it's really hot.
If that's the way that you lay it out.
Oh yeah, I just want to objectify man.
Where did that come from? Just seeing it happen in your work environment? Or? I just don't want to engage. I have what I need from emotional connections with people. I just want to utilize men to my kinks and desires rather than put in emotional welfare? No, emotional welfare? Emotional labor into things. Yeah. And so you've started dating to try to find that space?
Yeah, maybe like private play partners. I don't know. It's been a journey now, because I had one partner, but we had play partners, but now I want something more as well. Okay. Not that my partner is not enough, but I think it's time I explore other people as well.
Okay. And how have you been so, I guess, open and aware of the way that your desires are moving? Because I think it can be quite difficult for a lot of people to...
Yeah, but we've always had partners. We always booked DOMs.
I mean, not even the two of you, but just yourself, to be like, oh, now I want this. I'm going to figure it out.
Because I've realized, I don't believe in total monogamy. I do believe in being into other people, but I find it really hard. I go to an event and I tell people what I'm into. And the other day, a guy told me that his kink is oral sex, and I was... And which is fine if you're a beginner, but I
Sorry
found
for laughing. No kink shaming.
No, we're not kink shaming, no. But I've realized, and I've tried to chat up people organically because I hate dating apps or like other things. So I was like, I'm just going to chat up. And I've realized I have so much more experience than most of the people, and it's so hard. I find it really hard. Also, we're talking too much about...
Oh, no.
Okay.
No.
Space, okay.
Yeah, No.
Okay.
We can talk about all the things.
Perfect.
But when have you had an encounter with somebody privately where you were the more experienced one, and how did that come across?
Oh yeah, often it's like that. It was fine, but it didn't scratch my itch, which now I'm seeking true fetishists and perverts rather than people who are kink friendly, or I'm an attractive woman. I know that people want to have sex with me, but I'm not interested necessarily even into sex because I thought, oh yeah, sex, that's what you're into, right? Like that's what people do. But I've realized my job, the things I do at a dungeon with my partner or with my submissives who come to see me, I really get off on that rather than just normal penis and vagina sex. Obviously, there's always a kink element to the sex, but I get it scratches a bigger itch when I can hurt someone and make them feel like an object and use them as a toilet. I find it a bit sad because I wish my mind wouldn't be that desensitized and I could enjoy regular casual encounters. But yeah.
I don't know. I kind of feel like when I started because I was so focused on work for the longest time.
Yeah. Same.
I started dating privately, and then I realized that actually some of the smaller things can mean a lot when there's an emotional draw or an attraction. Yeah. But at the same time, I think that there's nothing, I don't know if I would even call it extreme. I know that that's people want to draw like a line of, I think that when you work as a sadist or as a masochist, it's just another section. Yeah. As opposed to you just wanting the oral sex component or whatever. It's just yet another section. Yeah. And I think that it can just move different things emotionally in us. And there's nothing wrong with that or so extreme about that. It's just a different way of accessing it. Yeah. I think. But you're looking for the ones who want to be objectified.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
And utilized.
Yeah.
See how you go. How did you come to understand your stance on monogamy or polyamory?
I had a previous partner. I never understood polyamory, and I could never have multiple I could never have multiple partners with emotional connection. I just want to have like more casual, see people more casually. I've never been into monogamy, but I spent a lot of my relationship cheating. No. So I've realized, okay. And also my previous relationship, we did threesomes and other things. So yeah, I've never been into monogamy, but I understood my cheating in my younger years.
You needed a different kind of outlet. Yeah. And you feel that you found all the components now? Or it's always an ongoing...
what do you mean components?
Well, like, are you happy with the way that things are set up? Or
I'm really happy.
Changing?
I think our sexualities and desires, they always change. But I'm pretty confident with my relationship now. I just want more people. It sounds like I'm going to have a herd of subs. No, that's not what I want.
Who knows what's going to happen? But like for me...
I'm going to be waiting for the inquiries after this comes out. Mistress me, please, mistress.
This has happened once before, actually, where an episode turned into almost like a dating profile.
This is not an invitation.
It's just an advertisement.
Yeah. If you're submissive and breedable, call me.
We'll breed you with dildos. See if it works.
Multiple.
Try again and again and again and again and again until you're still failing.
Maybe we should talk more about the space.
Oh, yeah, sure. We can, but I'm happy with...
I knew this is going to turn into just a chat.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. Like, with the podcast, I just want to be around people who I feel I like to chat too.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's useful for people to see the contents of a mind.
Yeah.
You know?
I love the way you pick brains of everyone. I'm like, it's amazing. But I'm the same. I'm always asking so many different questions that people don't get asked because it's so interesting how we all work.
Yeah. It's an excuse for me to ask anything I want. I think.
Yeah. That's good.
Maybe you should start a podcast.
I was thinking about it, but I feel like with the space and everything.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah, maybe I will one day, but.
If you had all the time and all the energy, what would life look like?
Ooh, I would live in a Japanese countryside. I would read books and enjoy myself.
Mm-hmm. How do you enjoy yourself?
What do you mean with how I enjoy?
How would you enjoy yourself?
Probably would also play in a band. I would probably just go to gigs, read books and relax. Mm-hmm. But capitalism and filth occupy my mind a bit too much that I do need to practice certain things and do things. So yeah.
Would you have a dungeon in this Japanese countryside?
Probably yes. Probably yes. But it would be a more different setup, maybe. I don't know, maybe different life. One day, maybe.
Do you think that you would still work or it would be more personal exchanges?
Personal exchanges for sure. I definitely wouldn't want to work.
Yeah.
In perfect life, I wouldn't. Money just, I don't work. So yeah. Probably just a little dungeon in a Japanese countryside and just living a slow life.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds like you're just starting with the personal play partner search thing. I've been on it for maybe about a year.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's turned out some great things, but I feel like the component of not having money can sometimes make it worse.
You mean if people have no money or?
No. The fact that they're not investing from the get-go and they're not clear about what they want. Sometimes playing is more difficult. Sometimes they'll ghost. Sometimes they'll be intimidated personally.
Yes.
It's almost like more straightforward having a client.
It is more straightforward having a client, but I feel like it's always good to take a risk because I'm straight away whenever I'm like, do you want to play? I'm like, are you submissive? What are you into? And let's have a drink in the next week. And if not, I'm gonna not bother because I don't want to chat with people. I don't have the time. I just want to have a drink, see how things go.
And why is the submissive component important to you?
I have a very high expectation for a man. My clients do anything I want for me. They treat me so well. My partner carries me on his arms. Everyone treats me very well. Why would I expect less from a non-paying man?
And you think that the word submissive encapsulates that?
Not always, but I feel like submissive men are more aware of how they should treat a woman, where I feel like as a straight, dominant guy would I don't know, I just don't think I work well with dominant men. I just get the ick, genuinely, out of men. So, it takes a lot for me to
interact with
men because I'm just so, I love interacting with my clients. My clients are my friends. We have such intimate, intense interactions that I would never want to have less than I have with my clients with my
personal time.
Yes. So if something doesn't suit me or is not right, off you go.
What is it about men that inspire an ick?
I don't know anything right now. You read on the news as well as how we live in a mostly patriarchal state, and I just don't believe in. I don't know. I just believe that women are better, and they just should be treated better. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Just men. I don't know. Not all men, of course. I do like some men, and men are great. But I don't know.
I think that sometimes when we are within...
I don't want to sound... Sorry, also, I don't want to sound like a man-hating woman because I do have a lot of empathy for men who come and visit me, and I love men, but I do get the ick.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. I think that when I'm working with people a lot, I feel like I have to also almost use terminology to make sure that I'm not wasting my energy and my time. And I find that, cutting to the chase and saying I'm looking for this, and this is going to just save that because I just don't have the emotional labor available because you're using that in so many other ways, right? But men and the ick and dominant
men who call themselves, like cishet men who say that they're dominant, I also kind of, it does make my skin crawl a bit. And I've tried to break it down, I've tried to understand, because I'm like, why does it just go straight to ick?
The thing is, if you're an experienced man, and you have a big skill set, you have studied, you know what you're doing. But if you're just a man who's tall, big and hairy with a whip, calling themselves daddy dom, I'm sorry, but you just wanna, I don't know. I just don't find it attractive because it's so stereotypical, as a woman. I mean, I used to be submissive. As a woman, you're being told you're submissive. So a man being dominant is, for me, a bit boring.
Yeah.
And I feel like a lot of male doms, not everyone, but not always have this same skill set that women have to need to learn to prove themselves as dominant.
Yeah, so I guess it's a combination of you're maybe taking the lazy route, or please prove it a little bit. Yeah, this is a bit.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard a lot of bad things about male doms in the scene, so I just.
Yeah. Why do you think that happens? Because they just assume that they can assume that position because of how society is set up?
Maybe they're not aware of I often think that they're not aware of their, how do you call it? Privilege. I feel like before I even ask people privately in parties, I'm always like, I always feel a bit that I'm implicating, and I don't want to like annoy people or assume things. So I'm super like, hey, like, is this okay? Would you like to be my play partner? Would you like to do this with me? And often I think men don't have the same self-awareness as women. Like, I'm super careful because for me, king being practice and safe and, like consensual is super important. But a lot of people, they just assume that, maybe a lot of doms will assume that just because someone's submissive, that it's an open space that they can use.
There's just a lot of education that we need to do for ourselves. That we can get an opportunity to do a lot because of our work, but also by actually being a bit humble and knowing that you're not going to get it. Even now, however many years we're both in this work.
I mean, I'm not that long.
Not that long?
No.
How long have you been working?
3-4 years.
Oh, okay. I mean, but still,
I work a lot.
You do work a lot.
And I work a lot, and I feel like starting in Germany, it gives you a different, because you have to learn, you have to actually, to work in a studio, you have to prove that you know what you're doing. So I feel like it's a different, because a lot of my colleagues in the UK, they don't have certain skill set, but just because they don't have to, they don't find it necessary.
So how would you compare the German studio experience to a London freelance experience?
I could spend hours talking about it.
Start.
I love working in Germany because you go to a studio and you feel there is people around. There is always someone having a session. There's always multiple. So in the UK, because of the sex work laws, a dungeon is a private dungeon. They cannot be more than one person working out of. In Germany, it's fully legalized. You need to get a license, and then you will work with multiple people in a studio. There's multiple rooms usually in the studios. There's a medical room. There's usually more like a feminization, sissification room. Then there is a dark room, different things. And it's a nice feeling because you go in and you feel there's people present, you chat, there's more a sense of community. If there is a bad experience, you share it with your coworkers. A studio always kind of keeps each other up, and you always find friends or colleagues. And in UK, I find it very isolating. However, I feel like we all have a good community here with a sex work union and other people, the scene. I mean, not everyone has the same experience, but a lot of people, because they start in a scene and then they go pro. But it's a different experience, much better. I mean, the studios, the equipment, because multiple people use it, more money is invested. It's a big business, so there is the best of the best equipment. And I'm talking inflatable bondage things, in Fetish Institute in Berlin, you get 30 or 40 different hoods. You get different inflatables, rebreather hoods, different sissification hoods with fake lashes, everything. And you can find anything for any kink, which I aspire to have. I mean, I have a lot of stuff, but there's always stuff that I could buy. in Germany, the equipment is so futuristic and so good. And when you enter a studio, it's kind of like you're entering a hotel, you know, like you take off your shoes, you have a coffee with your client. After, you know, they have like everything, kind of amenity kit in the bathroom and everything. That's how I aspire to be, because like when I came here to this, also you have time before and after your session to have a chat and debrief. I love having a session, and after I want to get to know my clients. I love having a catch up. All of my clients and me, we always have amazing chats. I often do them a tea, I often do a coffee, we chat, because I feel that's the only way I work and how I enjoy sessions, to chat after and debrief. Which I find really hard to do.
I think it's very grounding anyway as a practice. And even if you try to integrate it even for a few minutes, it's necessary. Yeah. It's hard to just kick somebody out into the light after.
No, I can't. I always lay down when people are sit and chat. You know, when my clients do come, I'm not like, okay, we finished, like we chat. I kind of try to get them back into reality rather than quick. But I have the privilege of having my own studio, so I can afford that time after, you know, even if a client wants to stay half an hour later, okay, we're going to have a chat, coffee, catch up. And, you know, I need that little personal thing.
Do you think that that's going to change in the UK, that we're going to have a little bit more community and flexibility in terms of a work environment?
I think it's all worker dependable rather than country. There are still people in Germany who kick their clients out after. So it all depends what dynamic, what kind of person you are. I feel I want to get to know my subs and my clients. So I always have the need that I want to have that. I want to put that as an experience as well at the end of the session, because it's part of who I am.
And what are the skill sets that you've seen that are different
from people in the UK? Different. I would say a lot of people think that if they go from a personal domination thing into a professional, it's the same, but there is differences. I actually was teaching someone last week about it, how just because you dominate at home doesn't mean you know how to handle a client, because at the end of the day, you are a service provider, like a masseuse or a nail lady. You are here and you're
making sure somebody gets an experience.
Safe. Yes. So even if my clients are my subs, I still make sure and I'm aware of their health conditions. I speak to them and make them aware that they're safe, and then I start. But the skill set that people didn't have, maybe just how to be professional around people, and also hygiene.
I guess as somebody who owns a space, you really get to know that.
I do get to know that, but I remember when the owner of, I was talking to Lady Black Diamond when I started, and she's like, yeah, you wouldn't know the things that I experienced. I'm like, what? Because as soon as we started, we were being told you need to be clean, to be hygienic.
That was my first lesson.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's right.
And that was like the most important thing. And then I've used the studio. I've seen things do here, and I'm like, sorry, could you please? And I hate being the nagging person, but now I have to be the one to be like, listen, you need to do this, and this. You can't just.
What have people been doing?
I don't want to name.
Don't name anybody. Just say what they've been doing.
Oh my gosh. No, because
Then they'll know.
No, I think that's TMI for people.
Okay.
I mean, people not using equipment the right way. Not the people not using the equipment the right hygienic way as a professional should. So making mistakes on certain things, or not doing the safety precautions with things. But as a dungeon owner, I think it's normal that you will find and see everything and anything. So I was ready for it, but I wasn't. I thought I was ready, but I wasn't. So it's always a surprise. But I guess like mistakes happen, and people do that. I'm thinking of what other skill sets people didn't have, but maybe, I don't know. I mean, like the British DOMs, I feel like are different because a lot of people in Germany, because it's so easy to get money out of it, people see it as a job and they're not even personally kinky. Where in Britain, I see a lot of people are lifestyle and professional, and that shows. And I feel like the quality of the sessions is sometimes better, but not necessarily. So I feel like it's a job that you can learn and you can be good at. But some subs tell me that they feel it if someone's personally kinky or not. Obviously, that doesn't make you a bad dominatrix, whatever, but I feel like people can feel it. But I remember I had this one interaction. I was like, yeah, me and my partner, we do this, and this. And the person was like, how can you practice it personally? And I was like, excuse me, how can you not?
Yeah.
And I remember that has stayed in my brain because...
Some people need to compartmentalize.
Yeah. But I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing if you're not personally kinky. I used to be like, oh, that's not... But yeah, no, I think like you can have an amazing skills and be a professional dominatrix without being dominant personally.
What do you think are the facets that are necessary? Say you're not kinky. If you were going to become a dominatrix?
Oh, like hygiene, professionalism. You need to, hygiene is on a high level here. I feel like people really need to, you just need to learn how to run a good business. And it's so much more than just being a hot girl with a whip. There's so much depth into it. And people often see things like, oh, it's going to be so easy. And it's like, no, it's not. It's like marketing, social media, online, even like it's so much harder to advertise in the UK. You need to be an online person. You need to do reels. You need to do this. You need to be out there. I really miss working in Germany because I didn't have to do any of this.
Would you go back?
I would go back to Berlin. However, I have a very privileged space now where my studio is in a close proximity to my house, and I enjoy walking to work, and I enjoy the connections I have with my subs. So I still am once a month in Berlin. So it's not like I miss it dearly. I'm there so often that I'm not. I accept now that I'm based between both places.
Okay. Would you ever open a space in Berlin?
Yes, but it's much harder, much more legislation due to the legal, because it's legal. It's much harder. So you need to have like, before you open a legal brothel, you have to have, I think, a fire exit, a bathroom, and this and that. So there is like a kitchenette. So there's a lot of safety and licensing before you can even open a studio. So I don't think I would. Not yet, but you never know. That's what's beautiful about this job in life. You never know what's going to happen. So I don't know. I'm enjoying E1 Darkroom now. It's a nice space, and I like it.
And if people wanted to hire it, what is the process?
So you can find us on as E1 Darkroom on Instagram and X, Twitter. And you can either click on Book the Dungeon. I think it's on my website, but also my number or email is on both of the places. Or you can just DM us on Instagram or Twitter.
And what's the process once somebody does book? Do they get information?
Oh, yeah.
What kind of information?
So when someone...
Do they get a cleaning lesson?
So before someone books the studio, after they've paid a deposit, they come to the studio, and then I give them an introduction. So I always say, thank you for booking E1 Darkroom. And then I explain to them all the rules. I also have a big info page, which I share with them before they come on certain things, especially for professionals when they do piss play, or if they do a certain kind of play, that these are the safety precautions you should do, and this is how you should do it, especially like latex care or...
How big is this document?
It's not that big. It's in my notes app. It's not too big. I tried to compress it, but I do also have notes. I need to print it out as well as some studio rules. But
what would the rules be? How many rules will there be?
I think I have like 10. Not that many. Okay. I'm just the basic ones. No smoking. Please put condoms on any insertables. Please disinfect any
thing you use.
Yes, as well as any surfaces. And
people don't disinfect surfaces. Interesting.
No, well, some people do, but some people not. But I also have, like, if you use latex oil, you need to, you can't just wipe it with a wipe and disinfectant. You need to use washing up liquid and a microfiber cloth. But a lot of people...
This is a cleaning episode.
But a lot of people don't do that. So I always have like, okay, this person uses latex, but everything's just oily. And it's like, it's fine because the cleaner me will disinfect and clean things properly. However, yeah, I'm just always leaving notes.
Try to not go on the ban list, basically.
Yeah, I mean, it's to be honest, it's very hard to get on the ban list. It's just when you don't listen to me.
So I'm going to try one more time. What are the things that you were surprised about when you opened the space? That you thought you were ready for, but that you weren't?
Oh, okay. I guess like people not putting condoms on things
Oh.
But it's not even about like being hygienic for me. But if you're calling yourself a professional, you need to care about the hygiene and safety of your client. That's what I mean. A lot of people are like, oh, whatever. And they just use toys. And it's like, no, this is not how it works. You need to protect the safety of your client, your safety, and you need to be hygienic and clean. You need to be, it's basically like working in a hospital or in a tattoo studio. You need to be super, super, super anal about cleaning. So yeah. And people not, cleaning up after themselves, basically. Yeah.
I've had a lot of reports from civilians, people who are not sex workers, about how obsessively clean they think I am. But after this job, it really got there.
It has to be. You have to be. You realize of the dangers and risks of cross-contamination and things and diseases. However, my studio is clean and safe, so I don't want to the people who are banned being told off and banned, so don't worry. But yeah, but I even had clients who left the studio in not a good way, and I was like, why, how?
Yeah, especially when they're being watched by you. Some people are just capable of leaving a trail of destruction.
I have no idea why some people are this way, but
they're distracted. They don't prioritize it.
People are nervous. I feel like visiting me, people are often just like, oh my gosh, this is like, I'm so stressed and nervous that they even forget
no more
how
control.
To speak. Yeah,
that's what you want. And you got it, including their messiness and their bad hygiene. So do you have any future plans for the space or yourself? Apart from
having filthy sex with my
objectified objects, as known as some men.
Future plans, probably I want to invest in more heavy rubber and heavy leather items, maybe invest in some style fetish equipment. But the problem is that you never, with the nature of the studios, because of the not full legality of places, as well as my contracts not being permanent, I wouldn't want to put too much effort. And I'd put a lot of effort, but invest too much, and then I'll be left with 2 rooms full of dungeon equipment having to store in my house. So
that'll be a fun house.
Yeah, I know. I wish I could. Yeah, right now I have my dungeon. I'm happy with how it is. But yeah, maybe host some events and stuff. I tried to host. You came for a party here. I just don't feel the place is necessarily good for the party because it's so small and intimate that I think it's better for a one-on-one, 3-way, 4-way kind of thing, but not a big party. Yeah.
Maybe 6. Max.
Yeah, a little thing, but not little pre-drinks or something, but nothing too crazy. Yeah.
Well, thank you for having the space. Thank you for having me in it.
Thank you
Always
for
wonderful
having
to
me.
chat.
Yes, thank you so much.
And I look forward to whatever it is that you choose to do with your time.
Of course.
It definitely comes across as a lot of effort, and
thank you.
Really grateful.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for listening, and speak to you next time.
Bye.